welcome to the Nerds Against Normality podcast. We're delighted to be travelling with you if you're listening on your commute to work. I'm Stacey Bowles and I'm joined by the man who once was on a train playing Sonic the Hedgehog at full volume without realising his headphones weren't plugged in, Harry Bowles.
Hello.
I remember that story.
And the man who once drove to work singing to Slipknot, lost his voice and had to visit the medic for a lozenge, Ben Sheridan.
2 albums back to back, I was in a traffic jam.
Okay, so what's been happening, guys? What have you been up to?
Why don't you take us?
Yeah, when you start.
Take us on a journey.
You don't ever start the journey.
Oh, thanks very much.
Well, anyway, Harry, as I was...
Enough of that.
Done that.
Well, I know you're really keen to hear about Love is Blind.
Yes, I genuinely am.
I finished, so spoilers if anyone hasn't reached the end of it.
I do feel like the target demographic here is the Love is Blind.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They're all listening to this.
Not the nerds.
If you're not watching Love is Blind, there's something wrong in your lives.
Then...
I haven't watched the reunion episode yet, but out of, I think it's 5 couples, 3 of them got married.
As in, like, permanently married?
Permanently married.
Permanently
I'm not going to say who it was,
Got to
but
bump up those divorce numbers.
Oh, God.
but the ones who we didn't want to get married didn't get married, so it's a happy ending for all.
Don't attach me to this, please.
I want nothing to do with this.
Yeah,
We
don't.
loved every minute.
Absolutely not.
God.
Apart from that, and I feel like I'm gonna get some real judgment here. Harry really wanted me to start playing Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yep. Because he thought you both have played the game, and he thought, do you know what, that could be a really good episode for that we review in the future.
Yeah.
Because it's PlayStation Zelda.
Yeah, it is.
Right? It's not as Zelda, it's not a carbon copy, but
No.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
copying their homework and changing a little bit of it.
And also, like, it's a very simple game. Like, in the grand
the
scheme,
premise
it's
of it, yeah.
incredibly simple. It's really well done. Like, it does simple so well. It's Stacey, give me this smile. It's not just me and Harry saying this. It's genuinely regarded as one of the greatest games ever made.
Yep.
It's actually regarded as art. There has been art exhibits of this game saying, like, look, video games can be art. And it's like, what's that? That's a hentai game. Don't worry about
I
that.
told you.
So,
again.
so it's
Oh, I'm so gross.
it's really great, and I'll carry on reviewing it next week.
So we put it on easy because I didn't realise it had difficulty.
There's a difficulty setting.
Yeah.
What?
So I always like to I don't care about, how long it takes you to beat the most powerful monster. I just like the story of the game. So I play most games on easy because I'm not
Just trying to get through. I get it.
Yeah, I'm not into the challenge.
But do
aspect.
you play a game because you like sort of the story and sort of the emotional impact, or do you play a game to like have a game to have gameplay? Does that make sense? Because you get some people who will play a game to like, I like the story, but they like the gameplay was terrible. Like there are some
We have
games.
played some terrible games. Well, not terrible, janky games.
Yeah.
Like Telltale games. They're not the.
How dare you?
No, they're great stories.
I'm with Harry on this.
I love Telltale.
They're not the most
games.
polished games. I am agreeing.
It's all
with
about
you.
the story.
I am agreeing with you. They are great games, but they are not the most polished games.
We'll have a debate about this at some point as well, because 2 of them are great.
Which
2 of the Telltale games are great.
Which 2?
The rest of them need to go back to school.
Well, all right, we'll come back to it.
Anyway,
But yeah, so I played through the first 3 or 4.
On your own. 3 on your own.
3 on my own
so you did.
of the
Yes.
big monstery kind
Colossi.
of Colossi, thank you.
So you would have done the one. Yes, you would have ended with the one with the massive sort of sword thing on the platform.
Oh, you've played it a lot, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And it was great.
Yeah, I'm
so
one of
let's
those.
move on to the...
I can name every Colossus, and also the ones that were cut from the game, and where they were going to be in the world. There's a whole community around this. I'm very single. No, I'm not.
So my issue, no, it's a great game.
I'm not judging you. I am.
My problem with it is,
That's my
and
wife.
Harry told me that it's made by the same people that made
Okay.
what's it?
Last Guardian.
Last Guardian, thank you.
The generational game.
And I played a little bit of The Last Guardian, and then I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry
No,
that
you're
I
not.
got bored.
Right.
And
Okay.
the thing about Shadow of the Colossus is it's not gripped me in the story. so far.
The big problem, because you don't want to spoil the story. The story is really great, but you really have to get to the last chapter for the story to make sense, don't you?
Yeah,
Kind of aimlessly
you have
do the story.
Yeah, like kind of doing the story aimlessly is kind of the point of it, is to just do it and not think about it. And then when you get to the final, exactly what I'm talking about, Harry.
Yeah.
When you get to the final bit of it, and I'm talking like the end of their game, it all clicks into place. You're like, oh, right, maybe X equals Y.
This is what Harry said, but
You did get quite confused with the buttons because there's two of them.
I did get confused.
You have to press X and then R2.
Oh, slow down, Harry. Slow down, please.
Okay.
Like some
Could
of
have played it on a
the
NES controller.
some of the colossi were interesting, but if it gets remotely difficult or I have to figure it out, I'm not compelled to finish it because there's no story for me to connect to. Do you know what I mean? So I worry that I'm going to get really bored again really easily.
I feel like the story is what you kind of make it. Like, what do you think is going on in? This is just turn to Ravina. What do you think is going on in the world? Like, obviously, you've got if you kill 16 colossi, you'll resurrect your lodger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's my fucking prayers? Oh, I'm glad you're alive.
You got dress money. You got dress money.
So he wants to bring her back to life.
Yes.
And by doing so, he's paying a price, whatever that might be, each time he defeats one of these things.
Yeah.
And I noticed that every time you walk back into the big thing
hall.
where she is, there are shadowy people standing around him.
Yeah.
And he looks a bit worse every time.
Yeah.
You told me he looks worse every time.
Once you start getting to the end stage
tell.
game, you'll look at it and go like, oh, actually, yeah, you're looking a bit ill.
But
Not getting that on the NHS.
but I think
Private or dead.
It's pooper all the way.
I think the thing is I don't have the interest in defeating them. Some of them are interesting, but the more harder they get, because presumably it's going to get harder now as you go on each one. I was doing the bird one, where you have to be in.
Avian.
I'll admit it's the first and only time I've probably thrown a strop on a game. I almost cried. I was like, no, I can't do it.
See, I played it once with someone that had never played the game either, and we played the PS4, which, I mean, we'll do this topic at some point, in terms of one that destroys the original.
Yeah.
This remake,
It blows it out.
you cannot go back to the other one now.
Yeah.
Even though it's an incredible, still amazing, it's just everything has been tightened up.
Like I say, we'll go back to it and review. Do it properly.
We'll have to do that, originals and remasters.
And that would be top of the pile.
But we had the same thing where she was like, I just can't get my head around this, but there was enough there to keep her going. I think it's one of those things you do kind of need someone with you that's played the game. Otherwise, I think a lot of people won't have finished it, especially nowadays with the kind of gameplay mechanics we have now.
It's clunky.
Yeah, it is clunky.
Yeah.
It is. It's very much a game of its time.
I feel really bad that I did get to grips with it, so
I only crushed my soul.
I will try again.
You're going to kill 16 colossi and my hopes.
Not to mention your balls.
Yeah, thank you.
No.
It's a very different podcast.
I will give it another go because I know how much Harry likes it and how much it means to him.
I would be very interested to see how you feel about it at the end. I'll ask this question to sort of round off my bit about it. How do you feel when you kill a colossi?
Indifferent.
I'll tell you. She did this. And for the audience, that's me shrugging my shoulders because she couldn't give a shit.
Okay.
If you cut her, she doesn't bleed. It's just ash. No feelings.
I mean, I like to play really low stress games,
Okay.
What's going to happen
Phoenix
is I'm
Wright.
going to complete it whilst you're watching it / looking at your phone, going, "God, it's crap."
No, I'll be knitting alongside. That's right, I am a lady.
All right, as a thing, and I've got to say this is if with any respect to me, you have to finish this yourself. You cannot give it to Harry because Harry's done it.
That's what I said.
Harry has done this and walked this path so many times now. You have got to finish because also the actual. If you pass it off to someone else, it's
You
sort
don't
of
engage with it properly.
yeah, and also it kind of goes against what the game's trying to make you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will give it a go.
It's so hard to not ruin it.
It's
right?
really hard to not talk about this very, very 20-odd-year-old game.
I will give it a go. Tune in for more,
Okay.
more frustration.
I would be really interested to see what you think about it. Just generally, because I think, in terms of a story, it's one of the best that's kind of ever been told.
Yeah.
So,
Where did you get to Eco?
so we'll, so there's that, and I had a really success moving away from like nerdy stuff. I bought Harry a pregnancy pillow
Yeah.
because of his
Congratulations, Harry.
Yeah.
because of his fracture.
Found out last week. So it's absolutely gigantic. I had
It's
to bring
so
it down
big.
to show Ben. I wore it kind of like a. How did you describe it? A crap Star Wars cosplay.
He looks like if someone, I was saying this to you earlier, he looks like if it just dangles around your shoulders, it hangs really like low down. We need to get a picture of it, I think.
Yeah,
But-
It's going to go on the socials.
Video's coming soon. When Stacey pulls her finger out.
Yeah.
I woke him up this morning and he was just like covered in pregnancy pillow, all pillows around him, and genuinely it took me a minute to find him.
Just some sort of like Everest dig,
Yeah.
like archaeological.
I sent up a distress
It,
flare.
it just looks like if you had like a big hat on as well, you look like someone who's just started up their own country and is desperate to try and get recognition.
Poundland, Conor McGregor. That's what I felt. That's what I felt like. Gave me a certain amount of swagger, you know.
Yeah,
Pregnancy pillow swagger.
I just love it. It's
Don't
just
knock it till you
so.
tried it,
It's
it's,
just
my
so like. It's because it's as big as you.
Oh yeah, 3'8".
Yeah,
I mean 6'9" because I'm tall.
of course you are.
So-
you sound tall.
So tall.
You sound really tall.
Hence why I'm the tallest in our logo.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
You
exactly.
short man.
That's
You short
exactly.
stupid man.
How dare you? If I could see over the lip of this table, I'd be so mad at you right now.
Just have to be careful not to stomp on you when I come in.
Much. Oh, we're back to Shadow of the Colossus again.
Yeah.
God, I'm bored.
I mean,
Stacey
you would
won't
grab my
involve.
hair, but
Oh, I can't defeat him.
yeah, just keep sliding off. Why is he so sweaty?
He's so oily.
Yeah.
What else have you been up to?
Oh God, now you're asking. I'll be honest with you, the pregnancy pillow was like my go-to. I was gonna big that up, and you rickrolled me.
Any games?
We played board game. We played Saint Grail.
Tainted Grail.
That's the one. Tainted Grail.
I love Tainted Grail.
And it's like Dark Souls in a board game. It's you never win. You just always lose. You're permanently dying. Like
Sounds like my kind of game.
the only friend we've made so far in the game is a crack fox.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
No, and also
Lancelot
we
didn't help us. He was a
Lancelot,
prick.
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do anything.
This is a board game.
It's a board game,
It's not a board
but
game. It's a way
like,
of life.
I see.
It's-
Carry.
It's one of them.
It's the DLC to the original Tainted Grail game.
I'm sure that I've never heard of that game.
I will say it's really fun, but it's not a light play. You have to kind of go right. We're going to spend 4 hours.
This is your evening planned.
We've been
it's-
playing it for months.
Yeah, and got really not that far.
No.
I
I think if we ever get to, only because that's triggered into something else I was going to talk about. If we ever get to the point where, like, we can all play it, there is a really good PlayStation game called For the King. Wait, it's a PC game, but it's very much like that. It's kind of your D&D, bit Dark Soulsy, but it's all very cutesy world. It kind of reminds me. What's the game you were playing that's got the fox in it?
Sonic.
The Crack Fox.
He's a hedgehog, Harry.
Tails,
Idiot.
you idiot.
Damn it, he's got me again.
Are you on about
Tunic.
Tunic.
Yeah, it's a bit. It reminds me.
Zelda-esque.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Tunic, but very like grid based. We should try and have a look at that.
Apart from that, you've been getting ready for Australia.
That's true. Yeah, going to Australia mid-September.
Yeah, we're already doing a podcast tour. Bit presumptuous, but still.
Yeah. Come along.
So far, no analytics from Australia whatsoever.
And also, I don't know if you know, it's fucking massive.
It's so big.
Unless you're going to go drive to Chris's house, you're going to miss me.
Yeah, 6 hours away from the pub.
Yeah. So, just a little story which I'm stealing from Chris. I am stealing it. I asked him, he's like, okay. Is obviously Australia is very much known for its dangerous insects, animals, blah blah
Well, I'll
blah.
never go
Everything,
there.
sharks, everything will kill you.
I'll never go there.
No, don't bother.
Don't recommend it.
No.
Or, sorry for the whole of Australia.
I'm not.
If you're listening.
It's lovely, and I'll see you next month.
Oh.
Buy tickets.
Buy my plane ticket, please.
Please, I'm so poor. The food is so expensive in Australia, it's ridiculous.
Australia is lovely. It's
Yeah,
very,
it's so good.
Yeah, it's very sunny.
But obviously, out there, they have Huntsman spiders. Now, they're not poisonous. They're massive. They're the videos that you see on YouTube.
So
and they're like plate sized. You know, people get salad bowls to try and capture them.
Yeah.
And I jokingly, whilst we were playing Monster Hunter, I was like, oh, had any Huntsman experiences? And he's like, oh, yeah, actually, I've got a peach of a story to tell you. I was like, oh, good, here we go. So he went away for a week on a business trip, la-di-da, went to Thailand, because that's the sort of person he is. Not for those reasons.
I don't know, I have met Chris.
Yeah, maybe for those reasons.
And his lovely wives.
What reasons?
They're probably all female. Probably. Anyway, his mum's called up when he's landed, gone, look, I really do be coming over. The garden's getting out of control. Could you help me out? And he's like, yeah, no worries. I'll bring me Jason, my mower. And,
Oh my God.
so he's loading up the car. He's got 7 years of age. Bungs him in the back. And off they go. Now, like Australia, it's massive. So it's like a 2-hour drive, I think, to his mum's. It's really far. Driving along. Ends up going into a tunnel. And whilst he's in the tunnel, he notices a spider crawling on the inside of his car, on the window, right? On the windscreen. So he's climbing down. Chris is trying, he's been a good dad, he's trying not to panic, right? To not panic on.
He's trying to be a positive male role model for his son.
Yeah.
At the same time, he shat his pants.
At a very impressionable age.
So, in Chris's words, he's going, you're thinking, it's okay, I just need to get out of the tunnel, and we can get out the car, and we can deal with it.
And burn the car.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and move back to England.
Yeah, of course.
Witness protection, start a new life.
Yeah.
You know, don't want to blow things out of proportion, but that's how they all do it.
That is what I would do.
Yeah. But glass, obviously, is not that great for traction. So as it's going down, it slips, it goes by his feet, and obviously Chris's little has turned into full-blown
windscreen wipers are going, the SOS guys are like, how can we help you, sir?
His feet are going bang, 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 bang. He's trying to kill it. The spider's jumping. It's all a palaver.
The stereo's going to different tracks. Different radio stations.
Poor kid is going.
He's proper strapped in as well. The kid, he's looking like
he can't go anywhere.
It's like something out of Thorpe Park and a theme park. He's like, ah!
So it's all gone to shit, basically. Luckily, a literal end, light at the end of the tunnel. He's got out of the tunnel. He's gone, whoop, just gone straight into the emergency bay. Get out! So they've abandoned car.
Chris has got out, realised his son is still in the car, got back into the car, got him.
It's been nice knowing you, son.
And after a moment to gather themselves, right? They've gone, well, we have to deal with this.
Yeah.
So
it couldn't possibly get any worse.
Oh no! So he goes into the boot's car, gets his slipper, because who doesn't have boot slippers, obviously.
I love that Chris has slippers. No matter where he is.
Anywhere.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're over 30.
You've just got to be comfortable.
No.
So he's thinking, right, I've got my trusty weapon. He knows it's in there. So open the door, he can see it. Right, he thinks, I'm going to swat this in one. Bang! Misses it. It goes behind the pedals. And he's like, that's stressful. That's stressful. Because if I miss it again, it's going to go inside the car.
Yeah.
Right, to which it is then lost.
Where it will then plan its revenge.
Yeah, possibly breed. Who knows? I don't know how spiders work.
You've seen the Alien films.
Yeah.
He's going to train like Goku.
Yeah. Live to Win's going to come on. It's going to be a whole
thing. It's going to go into hyperbolic piston engine. Yeah. Hyperbolic V8. Come out even swole.
He has a Tesla, actually.
Oh, he's got a Tesla?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought nothing.
Chris has a Tesla?
Yeah.
What? How have I never known this?
Because you haven't been out there in 7 years, I think.
Oh, fair enough.
The slippers make a lot of sense now.
Yeah. So he's gone in there.
And the pipe.
Shut up! The intro section is taking 45 minutes. So he's gone at it again. Bang! It's gone. He didn't kill it. It's gone upside the car. It's gone up inside the car.
So it's literally got into just the wiring and stuff.
It's gone in. And he's like, great, shut the door. He's thinking, that's that. We have to move. Whilst this is happening, he's unaware that the police have now pulled up. They've shut off that section of the motorway because they're worried about what's going on. And he's got, excuse me, sir, obviously not like that.
No.
Good day, mate.
All right, lads.
What's cracking? They've gone, can't help but notice you've pulled over. What's going on? He's gone, well, you wouldn't believe this, but there's a Huntsman in the car. And they're like, say no more. That's fair enough.
Calling the SWAT.
Yeah. Let's blow up the car. Let's go. So they don't care, right? People who lived out there, they just don't care.
No.
So this guy, policeman's opened the car, he's looking around, opened the front, opened the back, blah, 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 looking around. Couldn't find it. So they towed him to Hungry Jack's, which is
Burger King.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice, very cultured.
Thank you.
And they just said, really sorry, mate, we can't find it, so that's that. So now, as a coping mechanism, he's called it Herbie the Huntsman, because if he names it Herbie and just gives Herbie his own space,
yeah,
it won't attack Chris.
But also, if you give something a name, it can also betray you, and it makes it even worse.
It could get a bigger slipper.
No,
Yeah, it could also it could also, if you give something a name, it can also turn into your enemy.
No, they have an understanding, he said.
Because
I think the understanding is that he probably crawled onto the battery and got burnt.
Which is equally as horrific and might
Fuck you, Herbie.
God,
attract
that
others.
man, that MOT is going to be interesting. That is just, see, this is the thing. Like, I've seen Huntsman spiders before, just like online, and they're
nasty.
They're
Rapid. They're big. But not poisonous.
Yeah, but
not poisonous.
But apparently also just harmless, and they're like, oh, they're more scared of you than you are of them. It's like,
Absolutely
no.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely more scared of that than that is with me.
Yeah,
and it knows that.
Yeah,
it's got a knife. Probably, it's got 3. It can hold 3. Oh, that's so horrible. Sorry, Chris. I'm sorry that happened to you, Chris, and your son.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't remember this as a core memory. Are you all right? Sorry, I was just thrown up thinking about Huntsman.
It's a furball. It's all good.
God, that was right in my face. Anyway, Ben, what's going on with you? What's new?
It's annoying. I've had a good week at work, but I can't talk about it, obviously.
Oh.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I can't.
Rip that NDA up.
I would love to, but it's
Nobody's listening to this. Thank you to all of our listeners.
But I'd love to rip it
Mum,
up.
I love you very much. Oh, who am I kidding? She's not listening.
She turned off. She also.
Ben's mum, I love you very much.
Oh no, mum hates Strand of the Gloucester. She would have turned off instantly.
Who doesn't?
Because so really, really triggering today, Stacey. You've had a Freddo, and no more Freddos for you.
I know, I'm on the sugar high.
I know, you really have. You're going to collapse by the time we get to the review. I don't know, I'd love to rip up the NDA, but I can't because it's digital. So, just trying to bend an iPad.
Control, Alt, Delete, and then is that how it works?
Yeah.
Just Alt F4 out of it. Yeah. What have I been watching anything?
We saw you online the other day whilst I was trying and failing at Shadow of the Colossus.
That's good. You know, your friends, you message your friends, you might have some. Probably not if you're listening to this. Really
again, we really respect
really
our
appreciate it. Love you all.
Yeah.
Ben doesn't answer his phone, but we load up the PlayStation and what can we see? Playing a little.
Oh, you sent me a message, didn't you?
Yeah.
It wasn't me, it was Harry.
I hate that. I was playing Elden Ring. I was in a real tight spot because it flashed up. Because this has happened before.
It did.
This has happened before on a
I
boss.
have more success messaging you on the PlayStation than I do on my actual
I
phone.
have had a genuine moment when I thought, brilliant, I am about to land the final blow on this boss, which has taken me forever. Here it comes. Hello, self-esteem. It's coming back.
Goodbye, Loserville.
Once that, I'm on the bus out of there. Final blow. Harry's giant message pops up going like, answer your phone, you cunt. I've gone, no. I've then gone, no. Controller, I'm veered to the right. My character's gone like, no. And this thing has just twatted me. It's come up with you died. That was such a hard, I'd never brought this up. That was such a hard fight as well. I took forever on that fight.
You're welcome.
And the same thing almost happened again.
Good. I'm glad.
All right, I need to respond on the PlayStation. I do need to.
Not with PlayStation, on your phone.
I do respond on my phone. Again, when I'm in Eldering, I'm in the Elden Zone.
I didn't say.
The zone ring.
Okay.
No. Corrected myself there. Apart from that, there was something else I watched. What was it? Oh, I can't remember. I've just literally been looking at all the trailers for Gamescom and that sort of stuff, which we'll do at some point.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, apart from that, there's not really been a lot. Oh, F1's back! Whee! Formula 1's back! We did it! We survived! Hey!
God.
Yeah! Who do you want to win, Stacey?
Mercedes.
Lewis Hamilton.
No, terrible answer, but I do too. Well done.
Oh,
Who do
okay.
you want to win, Harry?
I have no idea about Formula 1.
No.
I will be honest. Football or
Yeah.
soccer for 3 American listeners.
Yeah, thanks, Stace. Yeah, at some point it's going to have to become a thing in its own right, where it's like, because
Formula 1. I think it's its own thing.
I don't know, it's really indie at the moment. It's very niche. Only a couple
The
of
potential.
It's only a few billion at the moment. But yeah, that was it. I've just watched that. Oh, happy birthday, Megan. My sister. Happy birthday to you. And by the time this comes out, I'll be an uncle.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see if I can I need to know what the right sort of time to get her into video games and that sort of stuff is, because no one else in the family
Your
is.
sister or the fetus?
The fetus.
Okay.
That's the name.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling it.
Come here, the fetus.
I've got a nickname for her, because at the moment I think it is going to be a girl, and I'm going to call her Fandango,
Yes.
which might mean you know what you might be called.
Grim. Grim Fandango. It's not very nice to call her Grim.
I do want her to be a private detective. No, apart from that, yeah, it's been a lot of work. Work's been good. Elden Ring is kicking my ass as per usual. Did have a great moment last night where I got to a boss called Renala, who took me 10 minutes to figure out how the boss fight works. Because it's basically she's in a floating orb above the arena, and there's a load of followers around her, but there's all of them are identical. But you have to hit a certain 3 of them that are keeping her up there.
Okay.
And then that shatters her, and you've got to run in, ooh, twat, 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 and then back out again. Thought that was great. Thought I was like, yeah, that was. Again, not a big fan of gimmick boss fights usually, especially in Dark Souls, those sort of games. But I thought, that was a bit of a gimmick. It's like she died so easily. I was like,
Was it her final form?
No. And I realised this as soon as it cut to black. Because I was like, we never do cutscenes. And I was like, that was too easy. And then I said aloud, it's not over yet. She then gets to her second form, and I was like, Valhalla! And she just hit me once and immediately dead. There would be no ashes to send back to my family. That's how bad it was. So I was like,
Why is his trousers up?
I was like, you know what? Not now. No, I'm not dealing with this today. But yeah,
That's a commitment.
yeah, it was good though. It was good.
Okay.
Nothing else is out.
On with the film review!
Yep, on with the film review.
This week we're going to review Inside Out 2, a sequel that features the main character Riley going through puberty, experiencing brand new, more complex emotions. So in the first one you had the 5 emotions: rage, fear,
Sadness, joy.
joy.
Disgust.
And is it disgust?
The green one.
The green one.
Yeah, the fit one.
Yeah. Well, this took a turn.
That's the whole point of this part. Which one would you do? We've been cancelled.
And then in this film, Riley enters puberty, experiencing different emotions. So she has an additional 4, I would say. So we've got embarrassment, anxiety, boredom, I think. And what's the last? Oh, envy.
Envy.
And
It is 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. So we're going to, as always, go into this film with no spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen it yet. But Ben,
We will talk about stuff that's been in the trailer, like the emotions.
Yeah. And then we will let you know when we're entering spoiler territory. But Ben, you didn't actually see Inside Number 9. Inside Out.
You're right, Stacey. I don't know what we're talking about.
Inside Out 1. So what did you think of Inside Out 2?
Yeah, like that. I didn't see Inside Out. I think it passed me by a bit. I watched a recap. I tell you what, this film has now made me want to go back and watch Inside Out 1. I quite enjoyed this. I don't think it was particularly the strongest Pixar film I've seen recently. And I think in terms of, I'm going to have to ask you guys when we get to it. I don't know if Inside Out 1 was a better portrayal of emotion and like how she deals with that, because that did seem like a bit of a more heartfelt story when she's growing up in Inside Out 1, especially like the way it ends and like the pink elephant thing.
For someone that hasn't seen it, you know a lot about it.
I saw a recap.
And that recap was wild.
Right. So good.
If you YouTube Inside Out recap and go for the, let's just say, questionable drawing.
Yeah, the crudely drawn one.
Well worth a watch.
Yeah, it's the best recap you'll get of any film ever, I would say.
It has some creative license, shall we say.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine a lot of that happened in the film. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
But so you liked it, but you just didn't think it was heartfelt?
I think there's definitely heartfelt moments. I definitely think there's bits in it that were more... Right, I think this film is very much targeting Riley's kind of age. I think this film is targeting, like, your preteens, your teenagers, people that are, and maybe people with kids. I don't think this film is targeting a 30-year-old man. So there's bits of it that the story around it didn't particularly like resonate with me.
Is it because you didn't get let onto the hockey team?
That is exactly why.
Spoilers, come on.
For Ben's life.
Yeah. How long have you got? But it's still a very well told story. I mean, it's a Pixar film. You cannot really. Pixar's had some misses. I think this is a hit for them. I think that it's got all those classic hallmarks where it's got good characters. It looks lovely. It's so colourful. I really wish for more live action films were like this. I wish it was this kind of colour. Like, there's some really good jokes in it as well. So Pouchy.
Oh, Pouchy.
Pouchy's
I don't know if Pouchy's in the trailer.
People will know. Pouchy's the OG.
He has his moment.
But we'll get into Pouchy in the spoilers, because there's a great moment which I cannot say without spoiling it. I think it's a bit more predictable.
Okay.
In this film, I was like, I can sort of see where this is going. I can see the message it's trying to play here.
Is that not just Pixar films in general, though? They never try and go too far away.
But I don't know. I think there's moments that, like, especially in like older Pixar films, where it does resonate with you like a lot more. Like Toy Story.
Yeah, but when did you watch Toy Story?
Oh, years and years ago.
When you was a child and you played with toys.
Oh, that was last week.
Yeah, I still play with toys.
Yeah, I can't tell her. It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think that, I think I needed to have seen number one. And again, there's going to be people screaming at me through like their stereos and their headphones. Like, why didn't you see number one? You're going to need to see that before you get into it. You don't know who Riley is. You don't know who her parents are. You don't know any of the emotions. It's like, you kind of do, though. You kind of do. Riley is, as a character, is she completely goes past the normal sort of archetype for a character, because all of her thoughts are externalized, which in a screenplay you don't do. You show, you don't tell. Whereas in this film, they've literally got this cheat sheet where they can be like, I can tell you everything that she's feeling all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of diminishes it a little bit. But I think the message is really nice still, and I think that it's still got some very like good universal themes, which I think, despite not being in that age range or being a parent, I think it's still, I think everyone has those emotions, which we'll get into in spoilers. I think there's some emotions that are quite underused. It's like, I don't really know why you're there. And I feel like the actual sort of like journey that the characters take in terms of quite literally going through her brain is a bit sort of like, okay.
Well, it follows a similar pattern to the first film.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, this is something I thought maybe we might get to in spoilers, but it does seem like this is really treading a lot of ground, especially because they even say in the film, we've done this before.
You've been here before, yeah.
Yeah, it does a little bit, but that's quite interesting because I think from the first one, I think watching it as an adult, and I got the same kind of vibe with this one for me, is you get almost that nostalgia look back of going, oh yeah, that is how I felt. But I think, because I think in the same way that you look back at Toy Story and you get really emotional because you remember when you left your toys behind and you grew up, for most of us.
That was a dig at me, I think.
I think Sonic statues aside, I think...
The Sonic plushie that's in my eye line.
I won that fair and square at the whole place. I didn't.
No, you didn't.
I paid one of the staff to get it from me.
Of course you did. Oh, I remember that. That's the same one.
Yeah.
Oh, we've hung out too much.
Yeah. I think in this one, again, that the kind of when you become a teenager, you're trying to reinvent yourself, but everything's new and scary, and you're a bit all over the place because you're figuring out who you are. I think they captured the essence of that really well. Mm-hmm. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think what made it such a box office smash, which, you know, it has been, is because I think word of mouth is so good, is that parents will see it with their kids, and then the parents will go, you should really take your kids to go and see Inside Out because they will love it, but also you'll resonate with it.
I think
because there is a lot of things you can connect to, like you say, everyone remembers, or I imagine so, everyone remembers their first day at secondary school and like it being so daunting, and you've gone from this little pond, this is primary school, and you're going to the lake where you're like, oh God, this is very real. The anxiety, because that's when you first feel like, Jesus, like this is actual, like growing up. I'm in the presence of like borderline adults now.
I need to be cool.
I need to fit in. I can't, you know, you don't want to be mean. You still want to keep your core beliefs. You're nice.
Yeah.
But it was so relatable, where it's not spoilerish, but she has to make some hard decisions. And I think everyone's made those hard decisions where you could go this way to please this crowd, or you could go this way to please your old crowd.
Yeah.
And you've made those decisions and made mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think what it does a good job of is very early on in the film, they show you that to bottle up your mistakes, throw them away, toss them to the back of your memory, and it just shows that that's not the best way to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think they showed that very well. Is that if it's not a great time, I don't want to know. Throw that away.
Is there anything that you think could have been done better? Spoiler free?
I think the best jokes were when they zapped into other people's minds. And I felt like they underutilised that. And I'm not saying it should have done loads of zapping into everyone else's minds, but those were the funniest jokes.
I would say Sadness. And to be fair, actually, all the characters, they are voiced fantastically.
Yeah,
there's not a single bad performance in this. Sad's sweater looks bloody comfortable. That is what I was looking at. I was just like, God, that sweater looks so comfortable. Fun
fact for you, it's not that fun. But there were, between Inside Out 1 and the sequel, there were disputes amongst the voice actors on overpay. So Amy, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but Amy Poehler, being the lead voice actor for Joy, earned $5 million for this film, and the other emotions only earned $100,000 each.
That is mad.
Yeah.
Is this from the first film? Sorry.
That's for the sequel film. So some of the voice actors agreed to come back because they loved the film. So Sadness came back. Yeah. You remember her because she's Phyllis in The Office.
She's really well. She's really got a great voice.
So typecast well, isn't she?
How have they paid that? When it's taken almost $2 billion.
I remember this story. It's actually
what's £100,000 in the pockets of Disney?
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah.
Drop in the ocean. They'll have made that in half a day. Easily.
the original voice actors for Disgust and Fear didn't return because of it. So they've actually been recast in this film.
Oh, okay.
And I have to say, I didn't notice, but I haven't watched the first one for
since
a
it
few
came out.
years. Yeah.
100,000, she had 5 million. That's actually quite gross.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good agent.
Yeah.
That's a good agent on her side, bad agent on their side. But also this is the thing, like, you know, if I said to you, Joy's played by Amy Poehler, what's Amy Poehler in?
Parks and Rec.
Who plays Anger?
Yeah, I get it.
There, and here we go. This is where it comes into. It's like, what is your name worth? And it's like, well, Amy Poehler's been in a lot, and she's also playing number one.
Yeah.
So should we think you are worth X amount? And also, to be fair, even 5 million.
I was going to say that actually, to me, on the scale of how much this franchise is worth, it's still fairly. I appreciate that it's not. Please don't take this the wrong way. It's not what I would call real acting. It's not physical acting, is it? They're in a booth doing their lines, and it's a different type of acting.
Yeah.
It requires different skills. You know, recording something on a mic is very difficult, and everyone should really appreciate what that's like.
Yeah, it's actually a really hard job, guys. Yeah, actually takes a lot.
So get off my fucking back. I'm trying my fucking best here.
Mum.
Give me 5 million, please. But anyway, that aside, I think the other thing that I really liked about this film, and I thought it was quite funny as well, and this is going to be a really up-to-date reference here, but I just love the whole transition to puberty. It's as stereotypical as Kevin and Perry.
Wow,
very tight. And also, even back then was quite an old reference.
Yeah.
Very timely niche reference.
You're welcome. It's just so overnight, and you see all the typical teenage tropes of like, oh, I don't want to do that.
I'll ask you a question, Stace, because first of all, you kind of look like Riley anyway. Just kind of look like Stacey. This film, and obviously the one before this, and I assume Inside Out 3, because it's going to make
money.
Oh, yeah.
Because my God, it's going to get a sequel.
Yeah.
Which I'd like to talk about actually at something after the spoilers. So this is all about a teenage girl going through puberty at 13, going into a new friends group, trying to find new people to be with, trying to reinvent herself. As someone who went through that, does this resonate? Because I don't know, for me, as someone who was a teenage boy and was also very introverted, it wasn't like this. The character of Riley is not how I was. Like, I didn't go really through that sort of stage, not until my late 20s, and I'm still in it now. But for someone like yourself, does this resonate more?
It does, but only in the kind of same way that Harry's already described of, you know, it's just, you know, a new experience that I think you can relate to no matter what your gender is. I think I was reflecting on this when Harry was talking, you know, the choices she has to make between, you know, which group she goes with, things like that. Like, I was very fortunate at that age because I went to a secondary school where I knew nobody and just ended up, clearly was not a popular kid. I'm a nerd. I'm not typically...
Just likes the podcast, it's fine.
You know, so anyway... I happen to be lucky enough to fall into a group of similar nerds, and we're still friends to this day because we were all the misfits and we all came together. So I can't relate in that way through pure nerdiness.
Apologies to your friend group for calling them all misfits. When they
know they're misfits. It's what we love about ourselves.
Yeah, they put a brick through the window earlier. Horrible.
But what I did really like again was Riley is again a typical teenager at 13. What I loved was that she's got a bit of acne as well. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
I really like that because when you watch any film, everyone has beautiful skin all the time, and you look at it as a spotty teenager or whatever phase you're going through, and you're like, oh, why don't I look that good? And you just can't. But I would say in terms of capturing a teenage girl's essence specifically, watch Big Mouth. That's bang on the money.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the comparison. Inside Out 2 versus Big Mouth.
No, I'm just saying if you want a typical teenage girl's experience that they're not going to cover in a Disney film for kids,
Oh, they cannot put that in a Disney film.
go for Big Mouth. That'll go
Have you
into a
seen
lot
Big
more.
Mouth?
I've seen that season.
Yeah.
That will go a lot more into.
We're like well
discussing-
into it. We've watched all the specials.
Really?
Yeah.
That will go into a lot more disgusting details that you wouldn't know not being a teenage girl.
But I feel like this could have gone way more into the sort of like, what does a teenager have to deal with now? Because ultimately...
But they dodged it.
They did dodge that, yes.
Because very early on, she loses her phone.
Yeah.
And I think they did that for the benefit of the plot. Because
Yeah, I felt like there was just going to be a bit more of like, you know, like not every... It all just seems to work out like everyone is exactly who they say they are in this film. Like the girl group that she's trying to be in with because they're on the hockey team. I genuinely thought at some point they were going to like, some of them were going to just try and...
Mean Girl her.
Yeah, just be like really horrible and this stuff and be like, well, and that was going to be like one of the inner conflicts that they went through with the emotions. Like, well, do you want to side with these sort of people or do you not?
They touch on it. You know, when they're gossiping about her, aren't they? And then her anxiety goes in and being like, oh God, they're talking about...
But then that's very quickly solved.
Yeah,
like there's nothing in that. Like it's the next scene, she's like, oh yeah, actually really sorry, I've got everyone to do laps. She's like, yeah, no worries. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay, so I think at that point we're going to have to get into spoiler territory. Because we can
Let's row into the territory.
Dig deep here. So if you haven't seen the film, stop listening, but do come back. Come back and listen to the rest of this podcast when you...
Or if you don't care, just listen.
Yeah. Okay, so spoiler territory.
Spoilers! Beautiful spoilers!
So in this film, they do follow the similar arc of the first film that Harry mentioned. So they lose her essence.
Yeah.
And they go deep into...
It gets ejected.
Yeah, and
They don't lose it.
They go deep into her mind to bring it back.
Yeah, leads you to the back of her mind. It gets like her essence for being is like, I'm a good person. It gets thrown away. It's like when you're the new one.
Being a child,
Yeah.
basically. That is what that is. And then anxiety comes in and was like, no. That's not how we live life anymore. We've got to do this. Everything's really different now.
Yeah.
And they're like, innocence is gone. Everything's going to go hell. I can fix it. I think a very bad scenario, but I can fix it. So off that goes. And I'll tell you what, all you lot need to go as well.
You are redundant emotions. And they get locked in the vault with 3 fantastic characters. 4 fantastic characters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
yeah, anxiety comes in, envy comes in, embarrassment and boredom are the new teenage emotions.
yeah, and boredom is absolutely fantastic. I
Boredom is my favourite character.
universally agree.
Yeah.
Boredom is great.
Who's touching the pad? I've got the app. It's so good.
It's like, oh, I love it. It just gets up. It's like, right, I've waited my entire life for this.
So, fun fact, anxiety took the longest to design, but boredom, or ennui, took the shortest because someone literally described the character as a wet noodle.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. She
Then
just
immediately took the design of that.
she never has her head like fully upright. It's always in like a slump.
Do you not think anxiety looks a bit like Animal?
Yes, he does. It does seem a bit skittish and all over the place.
Great.
Anxiety's in there. Obviously steering the ship riding through our teenagers. Boredom is there because, of course, like that is a lot of teenagers, and we've all been that. Embarrassment, all feeling that. Why is envy in this film?
Yeah.
What does she do?
I do.
And also, some of the stuff she does isn't envy. It's not envious. It's just like, oh, you're just here.
Envy just seems to be the voice of reason to anxiety. Anxiety's like piloting, and envy's like on the side, being like, well, maybe you should just, maybe not do that. That, like you say, didn't really see her side of emotions.
No.
But I think there's a couple of things like that. So they're all emotions. Anger is angry. Joy is joyous. Blah, blah, blah. You get the gist. Joy cries in it. So what, is she sad as well? Because they're not tears of joy. Anger, he shows empathy.
Yeah.
But is that because they've all evolved from the first film because they learnt in the first film to work together more?
I don't know, but working together and changing your call, I think, are two different things.
So in the first one,
I don't. It's a kids' film. Like, I'm not going to dig too deep.
Yeah, we're trying to get into the nuance of this, but again, this is what Pixar films can do and do really well. And this film has, despite my sort of bashing it a little bit, this film does do that well. In that, yes, kids can go and watch this, but adults are going to resonate with it too. This is what Pixar films do really well. And I think there are moments in this where, there are good moments in this which adults can really feel for. But obviously, we'll get to that when we're going through the story. But yeah, I think that
a lot of the jokes, I don't think kids would understand.
No, they wouldn't.
Like,
sarcasm is very funny.
Yeah, the sarcasm.
Yeah.
So good.
Actually, when she's shouting over to the crane, and it's like, we really need your help. But it's like, that's really rude. Just driving away. I thought that really funny.
Yeah.
Really funny joke.
Good, yeah.
But yeah, obviously we've got, what is it? That cartoon that she still likes. We've all got them. Pouchy.
Yeah, you wanted to talk about Pouchy.
Pouchy, no gag reflex, we've realised.
Yeah, you could go to town.
You could really go to town on Pouchy. Oh my god. I think Pouchy's just a very funny character.
Yeah.
You both loved and were joyous when the video game characters.
So good.
Yeah.
Did you see his hair was clipping?
Yeah.
His hair was clipping with a sword. I was like, yes! Yes, they knew.
It looked awkward. It didn't quite. And when he was trying to get out of the safe, and he was awkwardly animating out of it. He was jumping about.
Do you reckon that's
It's a riff off of Final Fantasy.
It's got to be. It's big hair, massive sword. As the animators for this knew what they were doing. It's got to be Final Fantasy.
His ultimate move is a shit roll.
That was so good.
It's my time to shine.
Just parts the blood cells where they just part ways. He just gently goes through. I kind of thought he'd make another appearance at the end.
Yeah.
I thought he'd appear again, but it was kind of a one and done thing. Pouchy is very much like a get out of jail.
MacGuffin.
He is, he's literally there to get them out of that problem at the end.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would seem hopeless. But
the first time they introduce him, and it's like, oh boy, in here I've got a rubber duck, and here's some sellotape, and here's some dynamite, which is exactly what they need to blow up the door.
Yeah.
And then you forget about Pouchy because he's not mentioned for about an hour. And then he gets called into action in let's face it, the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, the all is lost.
When they need to get back to base. And he's like, Pouchy. And they summon him. He's like, we need to get over there. And he's like, well, let me just check my pouch. I've got a rubber duck, a sellotape. And Angus like, we've got time for this. Just throat fucks him.
Which essentially is...
That is when I'd say me and Harry did laugh the loudest because that was really funny.
He just grabbed him and just went in.
It was an elbow deep as well.
Yeah.
That was insane. But also, I love that he's just bringing
Just
out dynamite.
more and more
So that
dynamite.
means that is Pouchy's answer to everything. Pouchy's a psychopath.
That was
so
good.
they do go through her mind like they did in the first one, which we mentioned, and they do briefly see references from the first film.
Oh, really?
So in the first film, they go through the bookshelves with the emotion memories stored on them. They've done that in the first film. They briefly mention that.
Good design for the bookcases.
Yeah. Do you think?
Yeah, because it
Looks like the brains.
ridges of the brain.
Okay, yeah. And you see a couple of guys with the hose thing, which I think is probably the first film where they jumble up some of the emotions and they're like, oh, we're just sorting out the facts from the
fiction.
opinions, facts and opinions.
Yeah. Oh, they're always getting mixed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it doesn't
All right, that sounds quite funny.
Yeah.
But then they go through
the call centre, the pillow fort.
Yeah, so they
that's
go
good.
through.
So that's number one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you said that was bigger this time.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they go through Imagination Land where the pillow fort is. They did have other ideas as to what sections could be replacing that. And one of them was Procrastination Land, which I think would have been hilarious.
It'll take forever to get through there.
Exactly. But I think that would have been great.
No.
I haven't thought of a reason. I'll get to it.
I thought that would be really funny.
Sorry, that was really good. Oh dear. We'll have good back and forth.
But I think the standout for me has to be the use of the anxiety, because at the start of anxiety taking control, it's actually quite productive anxiety, isn't it? Because it's like, oh yeah, I need to do this, and I need to practice more, and and then you slowly see it build and build and build and get
When
worse
he cracks
and worse
open
and worse.
4 energy drinks, you're like, oh, it's
Yeah.
going to take its time, and he just slaps his head, just jumps
Yeah.
to the wall and run. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh,
Brilliant. That was a
some
good.
great gags in this.
Yeah.
Some fantastic, like Fear as well. But it's just like, who's going up the pipe? Like Fear? Please don't ask me. You were never in consideration. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, that's me in a situation, I think.
But we've and they're so relatable. We've all been there. So, you know, anxiety keeping you up at night because, like, what if it happens like this? And what if it's the end of the world? And what if she loses all her friends and all this sort of thing? And I just thought that was really clever and quite brave of them to then get it to escalate to a panic attack.
That was a very good representation of what a panic attack is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say as someone who's never had one, I don't think, but like from people that I've known that have had them, that is a very good representation of what that is like. And I think they did a really good moment in that where when it all calms down, she actually touches the table. She still touches the wood and is like, oh, that's grounding yourself.
Yeah.
That's like something people who are having anxiety attacks do. They will ground themselves and they'll like try and count and see what they can see around them and all that. And I think I've been through something like that. And that is generally what you have to do to bring yourself back down from that level. Because when, like you said, when she comes in, is it he or she? It seems like a bit...
She.
She? Okay. It seems like she, again, like she's trying to do the right thing. And that's all she's trying to do in it as well. Like, she's not trying to deliberately harm Riley. And that's,
Well, none of them are.
that's
She
that's a
herself.
Pixar. Yeah.
She herself gets anxiety.
She gets
or
overwhelmed.
upset overwhelmed, that's a great
Yeah.
word. When it's not going the way she thought it was going.
Yeah, she's like gripping onto the controls. She's like, I don't know what to do here because it's all too much. And I think that, yeah, it's like it's a good by the numbers Pixar film. Embarrassment. Why does he turn? Why does he like go against them? That was a weird bit.
At one point, I thought he was going to have a relationship with Sadness.
I mean, if you look at,
I think that's going to happen.
I mean, there's probably a Rule 34 on that right now. Okay, I'll draw it, and Harry will refine it because I can't draw.
Okay, so do we give it a nan approval?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, I would have said yes as well.
I'd suggest I'll do that with the caveat that if you want to see a good film about a girl going through, like a teenage girl going through like the pains of being a teenage girl.
Don't watch my home videos, Ben.
Oh God, Jesus!
I'm subscribing anyway.
And the link is. I would suggest watching Turning Red.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm bashing this film. I'm not. I just like, there are some things I just can't relate to.
Okay.
But yeah. What would your emotion be? If you got a new emotion in your head, what would it be?
A new emotion.
Yeah, like,
new emotion.
you're not a chugging. Well, like if you had an emotion in your head, like taking the wheel, like what would it? Or like as you like, gone into adulthood or something like there's a new emotion that's coming. Like, hi, I am.
Imposter syndrome.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
All right, keep it light.
Kind of similar to anxiety, I guess, but someone being like, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? You don't.
You can't do a
You can't do a
podcast.
podcast. You're not funny enough.
Hungover.
I mean,
Not an emotion.
It is. If you've been hungover,
I mean, to be fair, more of a state of mind, but yes.
it
That's
is.
a
It's emotional.
that's definitely developed as an adult, I guess. Nice.
Turned up when I was 29.
But it's never
Never
left.
gone away.
When you were 29.
Yeah. When you. Yeah.
That's going to be inside. That's going to be Inside Out 4. Just, I'm binge drinking.
Just carrying around this brown bag.
What are you?
with a flask in it.
What are you, Ket? Okay. Again, not an emotion. So I know how you've got in here.
What was yours been then?
Horny.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that's more teenage boy, I guess.
I mean, it's very. It's
That's
very,
why they had to do it in a girls' bathroom.
Just like-
they wouldn't be having any of these dramas. It's just like, God, when can I masturbate?
I'm doing it now.
Oh, God.
That's the anxiety.
There's
It's
a
not doing it.
raunchy Audi advert.
That's the anxiety. I can't do it enough. What happens if I didn't do it?
Okay, I have one final question for you both.
Is it about masturbation?
No, what's wrong with
And
you?
why are we answering these questions?
It's not what I signed up for.
In your vaults, in the depths of your brains, if you had to lock away a film as a guilty pleasure, what would it be? Harry?
So, my guilty pleasure. It's Coyote Ugly.
Coyote Ugly.
Yeah.
Great film.
We're back to masturbation.
Yeah. I would. Yeah, probably at that age when I watched it.
Why
Probably
Coyote
helped.
Ugly?
I don't know why. I loved it as a teen. And I then watched it when I was about, I don't know, 28, 29. And I was thinking, this is going to be garbage. I was like, no, I still absolutely love it.
It's so good.
Is that I couldn't tell you who's in it. I could tell you, like, the story. And it's so...
Tyra Banks is in it.
Oh.
Tyra Banks is in.
Yeah.
That's a female.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it just always stuck with me. And I don't know why.
Okay.
And I'd always
Great film.
watch it, yeah.
Anyway, Ben.
I don't know. I had a real hard time with this question because for me, a guilty pleasure is a film that you would never admit to liking. There was a good one called The Last Ride.
Okay.
No. Just think I'm turning that off at the pass.
We said no masturbation.
Well, I haven't got anything then.
Is that list in the bin?
Right, go home then. Yeah, there's one called The Last Ride, which I think is about a rodeo guy and a girl, and that's quite good. It's good.
What did you love about it?
I don't remember.
You just like
Don't remember. I just remember sitting down and being like, you know what, I didn't mind that, and I also remember like being quite upset at a moment.
Okay.
I think I've been going through a breakup, and that is a big part of it.
Okay.
The Last Ride.
I think it's called The Last Ride.
Came out in 2011, apparently.
I'm going to double check.
Are you sure? At the end of 1952, with the best years of his career behind him, Hank Williams hires his local youth...
Oh, no, I've got it. Sorry. Can we cut this bit?
No, you're sticking to...
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, I've got it. It's The Longest Ride.
No?
Oh, no. What's The Last Ride about?
For 5.8 on IMDb.
Yeah.
Let's see if it's better than... What did you say? Longest?
The Longest Ride. The Longest Ride's got a 7 out of 10 on IMDb and a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes.
How does that work?
Well, it's because it's a better film.
No. 7 out of 10 on IMDb. And then what's on Rotten Tomatoes?
It
You say
was
30%.
31%. Yeah.
Well, that's conflicting.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Read me the synopsis for The Last Ride, and I will defend it.
The Last Ride.
As if it's my guilty pleasure film. It's not. The Longest
It
Ride
is.
is my guilty pleasure
Wait,
film.
you've just spent the last
We
10
all
minutes.
know it's The Last Ride for him.
You didn't think I'd Google it.
No, I didn't. Also, I'm glad you did, because now everyone's going to think this film is my favourite, is my guilty pleasure film.
What's it about?
So, at the end of 1952, I was only a teen back then, with the best years of his career behind him. It is my life story. Hank Williams hires a local youth to drive him through the
Appalachian.
Yeah, that one. Countryside for a pair of New Year Day shows in West Virginia and Ohio.
Yeah, this is exactly your story. That's why I like it.
There's no...
Wow.
It doesn't have a synopsis.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you the movie poster for Christmas.
Now, The Longest Ride has got Scott Eastwood in and Britt Robinson.
Okay.
And it is about the spark between Luke and Sophia fades away owing to their conflicting career paths. Subsequently, an older man, Ira, tries to show them the rewards of resolving relationship barriers.
Oh.
And if I also told you it was kind of about racism.
Oh.
Yeah.
Deep.
Yeah, that's the breaking down barriers bit. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I feel like we've done a lot about The Longest Ride / The Last Ride. And way too much about Coyote Ugly.
I'm going to say mine would be The Last Samurai, just because it's
Oh, yeah.
a Japanese war film with Tom
Stacey's favourite
Cruise.
genre.
And I watched it when I was really, really young, so I just thought it was absolutely amazing because it was obviously Japanese culture, and I'm now obsessed with Japanese culture. But subsequently, after I admitted to liking it back then, loads of people just absolutely slandered it because it's so historically inaccurate.
Also, like, it is a film. Like,
But
I'm not having to go at you. It's just people like that who come up on Twitter like, oh, actually, they wouldn't have held their sword in their left hand.
That is you.
Yeah, it is.
You just absolutely.
Oh, great! I've insulted the historian. It's brilliant. We've all insulted someone today.
Inside Out 2 for not being deep enough. It's the fucking PG.
Yeah, but Inside Out 2 is not. Inside Out 2 isn't historically inaccurate. Where it's not like, oh, teenage girls going through anxiety. Don't make me laugh.
But is The Last Samurai trying to be accurate, or is it just trying to be like, oh, samurai were about?
It is trying to be accurate.
Is it though?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it like.
I haven't seen that film in about 20 years.
No.
I'll tell you a film that is historically accurate: The Longest Ride.
I think it's got a timestamp at the beginning of the film.
The first question from Google on The Last Samurai is, why is The Last Samurai so good?
Oh, really?
Oh, who wants to know?
It's got 7.8 on IMDb.
That's good.
Oh, well, I can lift my shame.
It's ranked 1,738 in the most talked about films.
It's got 66% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I feel better about myself. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Billy Connolly.
This has been really rewarding.
Billy Connolly's in it, playing a Scots.
I hope it's a samurai.
I was going to do the accent then, but I can't because.
So, we've been Nerds Against Normality. Thanks for hanging out with us. Please follow, rate, like us, anything to get more reviews. Anything. If you have a question, something you want us to review, or you want to tell us about your week, please email us at nerdsagainstnormalitypod@outlook.com. Follow us on Facebook, Insta, probably some others.
MySpace, Bebo, AOL.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye bye bye.
Bye bye bye.